gotta be. I ain't living in your fantasy, and I'll be real if it's the death of me. I'ma be who I gotta be, and I don't care who you pretend to be, cause I'll be real if it's the death of me. Yeah.
And he reloaded.
Gosh. Hey, but happy new year. Let's not get started on a bad foot. You know, let's have a good time. It's 2023. This is about to be an amazing episode of Conversation, Kenny. Conversation where we are friends, okay? We're not gonna be mean to each other. We're gonna be friends. Also for everybody, I suggest you take a notepad out. I don't know if you got like a notebook. You take notes on your phone, computer, whatever it is. But we're talking about goals today, how to set them, you know, strategies on what we personally do, what, you know, your top goals are. So hopefully you're writing down your goals for the new year. And then also, if you're not listening to this in January, it doesn't mean that you can't write down and start strategizing for goals. This doesn't have to be a new year thing. Like this can be something that you do in August, July, November. Like don't wait until the new year to set new goals. We just happen to be doing it right now. And then the last thing we're going to be talking about is strategies on how you can plan and maintain your goals. So I'm excited. I love to set goals. I'm probably a little bit obsessive when it comes to goals. I do like 5-year or 10-year goals. And also I have like, hey, I want to accomplish this year. Hey, I want to accomplish this month. So I'm ready to jump into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how do you, and I don't know who wants to kick this off, but like, how do you set goals? And also like, are you a goal setter? Is that something that you do often?
I'll take a stab at it, man. And the only reason that I was so trigger happy when it came to this is because I very recently put these goals together, and this is top of mind for me. So to begin with, how do I set goals? Simply is by kind of asking some questions, and this is my my Notion workspace that I use to keep up with my goals and, you know, train of thought throughout the year or whatever. But I ask myself some questions, right? Question number one, what do I need to improve, you know, in terms of professionally, recreationally, whatever. Second question, I'll say, what do I need to achieve? Third, I say, what will achieving this goal do for me? And then the last question I ask myself is, what will not achieving this goal do to me? So those are just simply some questions that I ask myself to begin with, to get myself established as far as what I want to do for the year, also what I need to do for the year, and then additionally some consequences to that. And I've got a pretty lofty list of goals this year, but to be fair, I'll point out the most significant ones, top of mind and most urgent. Number one is, as you guys could probably imagine, continued education. What that looks like for me is technical certifications right now. I did say, and I just watched this the other day, a few episodes ago. I said by the end of December, what I say, 3 times certified. I remember that.
Yeah, did you?
Hey, I did say that. I did not get 3 certifications. I got 1, but had I not pushed that out there to Leo and put it on the podcast and say that in front of Leo and Kenny, I don't think I would have even got that 1. Simply because I had been such a go with the flow type of person, and then, like, you know, time would escape me, whatever. So that's number 1, continued education. Number 2 is I want to start creating content, both outside of this, right? But both professional and recreational. So as y'all know, I work in Salesforce, so I want to start making like how-to things like that, you know, maybe like some series on like how I solved it. There's been a lot of times where I'm trying to figure something out and I can't find any content or answers to that. I want to start putting that out there because I realize that, like, as I've been teaching my mentees, that I learn more by teaching. So I want to continue that and start pushing out some content behind that. And then last one is maintaining discipline in the gym and in the kitchen. Been doing really good in the gym lately, but not so much in the kitchen, man. Like, that's probably one of the harder ones. And it's not even me like picking out right now, but once we like we talked about a while ago, it's easy to lose track of your schedule. So like for me, it's like not eating enough. I work all day building stuff, meetings, whatever, and then I look up, it's like, dang, bro, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't even eaten. So that's what I need to do better at, is like, my caloric intake. I ain't gonna be tracking my macros to a T like Leo. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I do need to do better with that. So that's three of them right there.
How do
And then
you
let's talk
yeah,
strategy.
no, more so how do you like start by setting goals? And I think you got into it a little bit, but the
Mhm.
questions that you ask, I only got two of them. You said, what do I achieve, or what do I need to achieve?
Mhm.
What will not achieving this goal do to me? And there was a third one too that I missed. But like
Yeah.
what do you do before setting your goals is the question.
So I think about my lifestyle, and I think about I think about my lifestyle, and simply put, I think about goals that are like need to haves and then nice to haves. So like I think about, what do I need to get done? So that was the first one. Is like that was the second one. But what do I need to improve? Or what can I improve? What do I need to achieve? What will achieving this do for me? And then what will not achieving this do to me? So just like thinking about the impact of getting it done, thinking about the impact of not getting it done. Pretty much
I like
the
that.
the why. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, if it's not really any repercussions to it,
Yeah.
not very
Yeah.
likely it'll get done. Or if you don't really beef up that why to tell yourself why you're gonna do it, just makes it easier for you to put it on the back burner. So yeah, that's just a few questions I've been asking myself
I like it.
lately.
Kenny, what do you normally do in order to set your goals? Like before you even pick what a goal is, like how do you go about that process?
I think it helps to know kind of what, like, you kind of have to have the big picture in mind. Like you have to know where you want to end up. So for me, it's just like I look at, if I'm thinking more career based, right? I know where I want to be in a couple of years, and then so I then when I set my goals for like the new year, I look at, okay, what can I do for this year to get me closer to that goal? So like if I want to take the next step in my career, okay, well let me try to get, exit these couple, I want like these couple achievements. I want to grow my skill set in this direction. Um and then kind of set those like initial ones, and then once you like sometimes they're shorter, they're smaller stepping stones, so then I have more lined up. That's like, okay, if I reach this, then I can move on to this. It's like I kind of think, I always think about like the bigger picture in mind, and try to like kind of like, I have two dots, point A and point B, and then I just have a bunch of fill out in the middle, and I try to plan a few in advance. But for like recreational goals, more so it's um less about, I don't know, it's still about desire, but it's like obviously like I have my career goals that I have, like I want to expand certain knowledge, but like knowledge gaps that I don't have. And how am I going to do that? I don't necessarily have like the right plan right now. I know like the people and the resources within my company who I can reach out to, who I can work with. Um, and I know like the area and the pathway of work that I'm going to get there, to be able to fill those in. Um, Timing of that, don't know, but because like that's not always up to my decision based on like, what work is allocated to us. Recreationally, obviously, like, same similar to Lowe's, like just stay disciplined. The kitchen is probably what 80%, 90% of the battle, and I'm usually
Oh man.
I'm better about cooking actually than I am about like going out and doing stuff. Like,
Oh.
so like for me, it's, this kind of bleeds into the next section, but I think like, especially like New Year's resolutions, you shouldn't look to rewrite yourself. Like you don't need to start over, do everything fresh from new.
Yep.
In my opinion, it's like if you're not working out at all, and then you go from January to work out every day, you're gonna burn yourself out. If you work out 3 days a week and you ease into it, like that's, I don't know, 60% more than what you were doing, which is
Yeah.
better than zero.
Agreed.
And so like that's the biggest advice I have for people for goals, is like, don't try to rewrite yourself. Like have the big picture in mind, and then make stepping stones and inch towards that goal. Because the whole point of resolutions, I think, and goals is to build better habits and get results. And so that's kind of my thought process when I'm choosing goals. Is I'm like, okay, what like same thing Lo said. Well, where can I improve? Where am I failing right now? Um, where do I want to be? Where do I want to improve on? And then I'm like, okay, then I start making small changes, and I just try to keep myself accountable until it becomes routine, until it becomes natural. And if it doesn't work, then I kind of sit back and analyze, why didn't this work? Like, why did I fail this goal?
Yeah, love that. Yeah, something that I thought about for this year, which I haven't thought about before. People always like, you want to be 50% better, 100% better, or you take a step. Literally, if you look at it by the numbers, and if you just do 1% every single day, hey, I'm gonna get 1% better. Hey, I listen to a podcast, I read a page of a book, I talk to my therapist, I do 10 push-ups every day. Whatever you do that you weren't doing before, or if you're just maintaining, you're probably getting 1% better every single day, 1% healthier, smarter, happier, whatever it is. So 1%, every single day is 365. Let's take it back and let's say, hey, we take off every single weekend. I'm pretty sure the number is 260 days. So if you can improve 260% in 1 year, I think anybody would be happy. Even if you take half of that, you know what I'm saying? If you only do half of the year, you do 130, it's still 100% better than you were last year. So that's something to think about, is like how easy it is to be so much better, but all it is the habitual like steps. How can you create a routine throughout the year to like just not give up on something?
Yeah. I think going back, I feel like I realized I didn't really fully answer this, but it's funny hearing Los's goals, because the goals that I set for myself actually are like really different. Mine are more, I guess, like social or like personal goals. So like my biggest one is to be more shoot, I had the word because I just talked to someone about this. Be more intentional, right? Be more intentional with my relationships, be more intentional with my actions, and also to be more to focus on my consumption, like in terms of like media consumption, and then just also like wasteful, like spending habits, etc. And so
Man, that is two things right there that if people could buckle that down, you could move mountains, bro. Those are so huge. I'm not even lying. As he said it, I was like, dang, man, I wish I got those.
Yeah.
yeah, but because
He
that's
called
like,
it. Those are good
yeah,
though.
no,
So
but this
let's
is like, they aren't exclusive. Like, you guys can work
It's
on
true.
it
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm gonna go through mines, and this is stuff that I've done with like the nonprofit, the army, the middle school. Like I've done, what's called SMART goals, which like we all know about. But if you don't, we're gonna kind of go through what I think is like the easiest, foolproof method of creating goals for anything in your life. When I create goals, like how I set my goals is I look at like 5 different factors of my life. That's family, faith, fitness, financial, and then also I have a bucket for fun. Yes, alliteration, super easy to remember, but it should cover every area of your life. And if you're like, hey, I don't believe in God, faith is like the spiritual aspect of your life. It doesn't mean that it's like, hey, I want to get connected to this God or Christianity, whatever it is. Everybody else, you have every single one of those aspects in your life. No one can avoid it. Okay. Even if you're like, hey, I don't want to be a supermodel, or I don't want to be a bulky, what do you call them, trainer or whatever. Fitness is still in your life because health is a part of you living. you know?
Right.
So what I do is I section, that's the point here, is to section the parts of your life. And this goes into the S in SMART, which is be specific. Like, what specifically in your life are you looking to improve? So I actually made 3 different lists this year, which is a little bit different just because I have so much going on, but I need to get focused. So I have one that's specifically for peace, everything that we want to do with the nonprofit, with the podcast, etc. Like, what do I need to do specifically for peace? And then I have like a bucket for personal, which I'm just going to talk about my personal one today. And then also have like the consulting side that I had to make goals for. But specifically for the personal, let's just go on fitness. And I won't give away like all my goals yet because we want to go through those. But like, create a specific goal. Mine is I want to run 1 race per quarter this year. So all that is every 4 months, I run a race. It could be a 3K, it could be a 5K, it could be a half marathon, it could be a marathon. We can make those specific, but it's like, hey, no matter what, I'm running a race 4 times this year. That's a very specific goal. I just need to complete them. And then on top of that, you can drill down and get to times and stuff like that. But I'm super specific, and it creates all these steps before in order for me to achieve those races. So there's a lot of implications to that. So does that make sense on the specific side?
Yeah.
Cool. I hope everybody's taking notes right now and also rewriting their goals. Next one is measurable. So the fitness goal 4 times a year, how can I measure it? If I get 4 medals by the end of 2023, that's how I measure it. If I get 4 bibs, if I get 4 registrations, like obviously I want to get to the race and complete it. So that's why I'm doing like the medals or the bibs, which means I was there, I was present or whatever. Barring injury, that's how you measure it. Achievable. That's why I say 5K for this one. I know that I can run a 5K like right now. So even if I'm not like improving my run times or improving my distance, I know right now I can run 4 5Ks in a year. So that's how I would know it's achievable. And I could bump this up if I want to challenge myself and say 8K, or I want to run a half marathon, whatever it is. So that's the A in SMART. Relevant. How is this relevant to my fitness goals? It creates, I'll have to create a plan in order to make sure that I'm physically fit in order to run these all year long. I can say, hey, I want to run a 5K. I run one, and then 3 months later, I never work out again. I don't know if I'll be ready for a 5K. Maybe I can walk one. Maybe I can walk one, but I'm not sure if I'll be ready. And then the last thing
still counts.
It still counts. It still does count. It still does count. Yep. And then the last one, T, is time based. Like how can I create a timeline on when this goal can be achieved or should be achieved? I'm spacing mine out on purpose to create consistency in my fitness. I could say I just need to run 4 in a year. I'm trying to run 1 a quarter on purpose, so I know all year long I'm training for something. So that's I think the foolproof way to make like a goal, and you can almost make a plan based on those goals just with that. We'll get a little bit more into the strategies later, but that's what I always do. Get specific, number 1. And I go through like, hey, how can I check all these boxes with everything I put down on a piece of paper? So SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Like it?
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that until now.
And yeah, I'm glad we was able to ride along for that crash course, man. SMART goals.
SMART goals. You can do it, with finances. You can do it with relationships, finances. Hey, I want to save X amount of dollars by this time. Specific. I want to save, or you can say, which I have on my list, or I want to invest. Those are 2 different things, but very specific. Saving is just putting away and having it sit. Investing it is putting it into something and hopefully seeing a return. Very specific. And money. Measurable. How do I know I'm saving it? You can either look at your bank account or you can look at your brokerage account. Achievable. You got to look at your finances. This is where the planning comes in. Can I actually afford to save this much money in a year, in a month, or whatever it is? So we can go through all that stuff, blah, 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 but hopefully everybody gets the point. Yo, thank you for tuning into the P.E.A.C.E podcast. This podcast actually started off with 4 friends sitting around a table once a week. We were having conversations to educate ourselves about the world around us, talking about what we're dealing with day to day as regular people, and simply to self-reflect. So that's all that you're seeing us do here, and you're getting to see it live. So I challenge you to do the same thing. If you've made it this far, obviously something caught your attention. So get a group of friends and build a small community and start to join in the conversation. Like, these are tough conversations. These are fun conversations, but these are conversations that are needed to be had. In fact, I want to make it easy for you. If you're listening to this podcast at home, invite a friend over. Or maybe invite 2 friends over, 3 friends over, whatever it is. Turn your TV on, your computer, your phone, wherever you want to watch it, turn the podcast on, okay? And join in the conversation. If you're listening to this maybe on run, at the gym, you know, I get it. I do the exact same thing. But maybe you can share the link, clip the file or something like that, and just pose one of the questions that you heard here today. The point is to build community and to self-reflect. Oftentimes we don't vocalize the things that we need to work on, and that's one small way that I think that we can, you know, help improve ourselves, improve others, and most importantly, pursue excellence and cherish everyone. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you again next week. Peace.